welcome to the Knitting It Up podcast. I'm Annie. I usually do this podcast with my husband Alex, who is MIA right now. His knitting mojo tends to die in the summer months, and since we're heading into summer, he will be here less often. So I apologize, but you're stuck with me. He'll still make appearances here and there and contribute when he finds something worth contributing. So for now, it's a solo podcast. That's okay. I hope you guys didn't mind too much last week, me taking it over all by myself, but it's going to be happening here and there, especially since he's going back to work on Monday. So I'm going to miss him terribly, and so is Luke, and we're gonna manage. We're going to make do. So I think we'll get right into knitting if that's okay. So this week I don't have any actual finished objects to speak of, so I'm going to talk about an object that I finished a while ago, which is the sweater that I'm wearing. It's the Light Trail sweater by, hold on, I have to look at that, Suvi Simola. You can find it on my projects page on my Ravelry, which I will link here. So this sweater was one of the first sweaters that I made, and I made it for me. I made it pre-baby, so it fit a little differently. It was a little... So it was a little longer at the time, and then I think when I got pregnant, my bra size went up a few. So it's kind of short now, so I don't really like to wear it in public, but I'll wear it here on the podcast for you at least. It's a very simple sweater. It's very lightweight. It's in fingering. The colorway is Hedgehog. The colorway is Teacup by Hedgehog Fibers. So this is a really lightly speckled color. It's kind of a creamy off-white, and then there's just speckles of brown and pink and little bits of blue. When I saw this colorway, I got it at La Maison Tricoté, and I just fell in love with it. So I grabbed 3 skeins that were fairly similar. I love speckles, but I wanted to make something that was wearable. So I find sometimes with speckles, it can be a little overwhelming, especially for me. With my style and just with my wardrobe. So if I wanted something that I would wear, I wanted it lightly speckled. So I picked 3 skeins of the Hedgehog that were similar. So it's just stockinette. It's worked top down. And I don't know if you can see it well, but it's as good as it's going to get. So stockinette all the way down, and then there's just a little simple cable on the sleeves, and it goes down, and then it just stops, and the sleeves continue. So it was a fairly easy knit, I would say. The cables are kind of worked as their own little panel, and then you add them in and you pick up along to make your sleeves, if that makes any sense. So really straightforward, well-written pattern. I would definitely make another one. I plan to make another one since this one doesn't really fit super well anymore. It's also fairly see-through, that's why I'm not standing up. So it's as I said, it's in fingering weight. It has about 3/4 length sleeves, and sorry, I wrote little notes on it because I didn't want to ramble, but I'm rambling anyway. So I think I said most of it. It's top down. It's in the round. It's supposed to be an oversized fit, but I made it pretty fitted just because I don't like being like, you know, kind of on the plus size and wearing overfit clothes. I find fitted suits my body type better. And yeah, so just 3 skeins of Hedgehog, so it wasn't really bad at all. I had 4, so I had 1 left over, and I worked it in my fade and socks and stuff like that. So that's why you've seen it quite a bit. I didn't alternate skeins because I bought 3 skeins that were so lightly speckled. Had I not, I would have had to. But as you can see, it's pretty good. It's pretty randomized, and I think it looks pretty nice. I do want to add, though, that most of the Teacup skeins that I have seen are super speckled or contain a lot more browns and hot pinks. So it really depends on the hank of Teacup that you're going to get, because I wouldn't just look at this and say, okay, I'm going to order online 3 skeins of it, because the 3 that you get might be completely different than the ones that I used, and you might not like the finished product, or you just might feel misled. So I'm not trying to mislead anybody. I really recommend that with speckles you at least see them in person before you make like a sweater out of them. I think in a shawl it's fine, but if you're trying to make like a sweater with a really highly speckled or hand-dyed yarn, it's always nice to see it in person. If you don't have that luxury, you could always ask the designer to take a picture of a couple of them just to show you what it looks like. I think they pretty much accommodate that. But the best thing to do really is make sure A, you have enough, and B, that you alternate skeins. So you do 2 rows with one ball, 2 rows with the next, and you just carry it along the side. So it's really not that bad. I've done it before and it worked out really well. So next sweater, that's what I'm going to do, and I think I'll make it speckled again just to see if it works out just as nicely. There's some Madeline Tosh speckle that I've been eyeing, so we'll see about that. I would also totally make this in Typewriter by Hedgehog, which is a white with little black speckles, you know, typewriter style. So definitely going to make it again. I like the finished product. I think it looks quite nice. Like I said, maybe one size up for the chest area, and then a little bit longer just to accommodate the chest area. So that's it for the sweater. I'm going to move along to some works in progress. So the first work in progress I have this week was cast on kind of just as a simple knitting, something I can do when I'm watching TV or I don't want to focus on the shawl, which has brioche in it. So I cast on a little pair of socks, and you've seen these before, but it's from the Cozy Knitter. Christina sent me it. Isn't it pretty? I don't know if I can block out the sun a little bit so you can see it a little better, but that's what it looks like. And it's so my colors. It's totally my jam. So I just cast on little shorties, and I'm using the pattern by Espace Tricot, as usual, the Scrumptious Stripe socks. So this is kind of what it looks like. So I just did one stripe of the gray, if you can see that. And then I'm starting the heel flap right now. So not that much to show, it's pretty simple. I love the color though, and I think it looks so cute. They're going to be really cute. I'm hoping I have enough left over to make loop little matching socks, and I think I will since I'm making shorties. And she sent a nice little contrasting color of for the heels, toes, and cuff. So I definitely will have enough. If not, I'll find a way to make it. But we're gonna get Luke some socks going on the needles. So that's about it for the socks. So I'll move over to the shawl. So I've spoken to you guys about my Mother's Day shawl fiasco and the first failure, and this is the second one, and it's going a lot better, so I'm really happy. I'm hoping to have it done in time for Mother's Day, and I think it might be, to be honest. So I'll show you the shawl, and it's called All About That Brioche. So this is the point, this is the starting point, and then it goes like this. So it's hard to show it to you perfectly, but this is the brioche section. So it starts with the silver as the primary color for the brioche, and then it works up until a certain amount of repeats, and then he switches over to the opposite color, and then I'm going to do a section of the silver just like I did with the jade. So the color's not really showing quite perfectly, but I guess that's it's kind of not the perfect representation. It's much more, I'd say, green than you're seeing, but that's kind of the look of it. And I love the brioche because it's super squishy and it's super soft. And I did quite a good job. I mean, I'm sure you can find mistakes, but this is kind of what it looks like. I don't know if it's in focus. I can't see anything. Okay, so what I would recommend with this pattern and with any brioche pattern if you've never done one is watch a lot of YouTube videos. There's honestly, I wanted to take a class on brioche and I wanted to learn it properly, but with all the YouTube tutorials that there are out there, you can learn so much by yourself, and you know, ask for help if you need. There's tons of knitting support on Ravelry, on Instagram, on whatever media outlet you have access to, and YouTube is just so useful. It's filled with knowledge and good facts and tips. So if you want to learn anything, if you want to learn a new bind off, a new cast on, brioche, color work, it's a really good place to start. So that's what I did. I used the Mina Phillips tutorial on 2-color brioche, and it went really well, and I really The only thing I'd say is try to find someone who knits with the same style as you do. Like if you're a continental knitter, then find a video that knits like continentally so that you don't get super confused. I knit English style, but I would say that Mina's video still was a little confusing because she just holds her yarn differently than I do, but it was clear enough that I got the major concepts from it. And then I watched a couple other videos, I think, just to solidify my knowledge base. But it overall went super well. I can't complain. Okay, so the yarn, like I said last week, is Sweet Georgia. It's in the Merino Silk Fine in 2 colors, so silver and jade. They're about 380 yards per ball, so the pattern was calling for about 410 yards per ball. So it'll be slightly smaller. It's okay though, I think it's fine. My mom's gonna love it, and the brioche makes it really stretchy, so I think it'll give it a little bit of added length and just overall squishy goodness. I'm gonna block it. I'm gonna steam block it though. I don't want to over block the brioche. I've never blocked brioche, so it's gonna be a little challenging. Is it brioche? I don't know. It's both. So I'd say with that pattern, it's a pretty good introduction to brioche if you've never done it. The only thing I found a little hard is whenever there was an increase or the shifting of the triangular shawl, I got a little confused about where I should be brioching or where I shouldn't be, how to carry over the yarn. The pattern explains it beautifully. It was just a lack of experience on my part. So the first few rows were probably a little bit messier on the side, but once I got the hang of it, it went quite well. Again, though, I would say that it's definitely a good idea to make like a swatch or something if you've never brioched before. I had already kind of done that in the fall, so I had an idea of what I was doing, so I didn't do a swatch. But if you have never done it before, definitely start out with some, spare yarn and just play around with it. And I think that'd be a really good starting point. So Amalia is a good friend of mine, and she works at Espace, and she was talking to me about brioche, and she basically said that there's a rhythm to it. You get in the rhythm of it, the more you get used to it, and it becomes like a little dance. So every time I've been brioching, I found that rhythm that she was talking about, but all I could really hear is One Dance by Drake. So that was entertaining. So thank you, Amalia. Thank you for that. So another thing I really like about the All About That brioche pattern is that I think you can make a super cool version of it with speckles, and maybe make your own faded version, since fading is like all the rage right now. You can use 2 different color yarns, contrast it any way you like, or make a fade, make it really a subtle change, and it's gonna look stunning. So it's definitely not the last shawl that I'm gonna make with this pattern. I think it's just the beginning. But I definitely want to make another one with more of a color palette to my taste, maybe something with a bit of speckle to it. So we'll see. Stay tuned. If you've made one using that pattern, I'd love to see it. So you can always tag me on Instagram, and I can go and see your photos of any works in progress that you guys have going on that maybe that I've talked about, or things that relate to topics that we've discussed here. So feel free to tag me on anything. I love to go and see what you guys are working on. So I've kind of been having a shawl addiction lately, and I think I've enabled my friend Amma to have one too, which is not a problem because then we can enable each other. But I totally want to cast on all the shawls, just all the shawls. And I love knitting shawls because you can use so much color and it's so much fun. So I'm really looking forward to casting on another one soon. I really think I can zip through this shawl, Luke permitting, and have it done soon, and then cast on maybe the Woolberry shawl that I've been wanting to cast on. I don't really have a pattern for it yet. I know about 100 that I'd like to make, but I want to find the perfect one for the yarn to really highlight it and make it look just as good as it should. So we'll see where that goes, and I'll keep you guys posted. There's always the Quicksilver shawl that I can cast on as well. So I kind of spoke briefly last time about doing a knit along, a shawl knit along. So I think we're gonna go ahead and do that. I'm aiming, I think, for maybe June 1st as a start date. I don't know what you guys think. Is that enough time? Is that not enough time? Is it too much time? So give me some feedback on that. Maybe we can even meet up at a local yarn shop and see how that goes and knit all together. So I think that would be really fun, and maybe I would have a prize for those who show up to the local meetup, just a prize for you guys, and then I'd get some really cute prizes for the knit along as well. So let me know what you think, and we'll aim to do that. I'm thinking it's going to be any shawl, no works in progress this time. You're going to have 2 months or to 3 months to complete it. We'll see. And at least a two skein project. So, you know, an 800 yard and up shawl, a good size shawl. It can be any weight, don't really mind, and it would be really fun for summer. I think it'd be a fun summer knitting project. So let me know what you think. I'm going to get the details, I'll sort it out, and by next podcast I should have a good answer for you guys in terms of start date, prizes, and things like that. So keep me posted on what you guys think. You can always comment or message me on Ravelry or Instagram. I'm pretty easy to reach. I kind of want to talk about some indie dyers in the podcast. So I think every podcast or every other podcast, I'll do a little indie dyer highlight or spotlight for just, you know, those people who are, you know, producing beautiful yarns and trying to get their name out there. I don't think I have that many viewers, so it might not help that much, but it makes me feel good to talk about people who I think are doing a really good job and who inspire me on a daily basis. So the indie dyer spotlight for this week is Ritual Dyes. I found them on Instagram, and honestly, there's just so much good about this dyer. Her name is Rachel, so she's the creator behind it. And I read a little bit about her on her website, and I think she has like a fashion background, and it really shows. Her yarns are just really sophisticated looking. They're just, you know, I think they're like nature inspired. They have a very mineral-esque appeal to them, using really colors found in nature and found in everyday life. So I really like the look of her yarns, and there's you know, there's a couple things that I look for when I'm gonna follow somebody on Instagram or when I want to buy yarn from an indie dyer. One thing that's super important to me is photography. So because Alex and I are also into photography, it just appeals to me when I see somebody take the time to take really nice pictures. I try to take nice pictures myself, although I haven't really had time to break out our professional camera, so I've been kind of iPhoning it up, but you know, you'll forgive me, I'm sure. So when I saw her pictures, they're just really nicely done. It's professional looking, and it just inspires you. It makes you want to knit, so that's always a good thing. So Rachel from Portland, Oregon, the creator behind Ritual Dyes, has a beautiful Instagram page, and you should follow her. Really great, like I said, yarns, pictures, and what I really also like about her is she has a website, and she actually has yarn there available to purchase, so you can go and check it out. One of my favorite colors is the rose gold color and the alabaster color. I really am tempted by it, but look, the purpose of this segment to me isn't to go crazy and buy everything that I find that looks appealing to me, just because mainly financially can't afford to do that, but also because I look at things to inspire myself and to get my like creative energies going. So it's not always about owning that yarn right away, you know? It's an eventual thing. It's something that when I find the perfect project for it, I will look back and say, oh yes, Ritual Dyes, rose gold, this is exactly what this project calls for. And then I'll make the purchase. So it kind of works best for me that way. When I buy a ton of yarn and I just hoard it, I get stressed. I get so stressed. I think I've said that before. I like to have a project for every yarn in my collection. So knowing that like that blue speckle that's poking out, I don't have a project for it, stresses me a little bit. And I spend some time looking at projects, just, you know, waiting for something to pop up and say, yes, that's what the plucky is for. You're going to use that plucky and you're going to make that hat. But I haven't found it yet. So we'll keep searching, and I'll try not to let it stress me. So Ritual Dyes is my Instagram crush or indie dyer spotlight of the week. If you have one, please comment below so I can check them out. I would love to see what you guys are crushing on right now or what inspires you. So something I wanted to talk about quickly is just how I guess, hard it's been to be a new mom, and I think I wasn't expecting that. Don't get me wrong, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, and I love Luke more than life itself. I'm just kind of surprised at all the little challenges. Like, I guess mainly when he cries uncontrollably is what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I think we're doing quite well. We've gone out with him, we've gone to restaurants with him. We haven't really stopped our lives just because we had a baby. I've been really just overwhelmed when he cries uncontrollably. And I know that's normal, and I know that, they call it the witching hours. It's between like 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. But I just feel so responsible, and when he starts crying, it's like a million daggers in my heart because he just won't stop no matter what I do. If I hold him, if I bounce him, if I sing to him, he sees red, and there's just no coming back from that. So I think that's been really hard on me, and I'm a nurse, and I've caused many babies many tears, putting in IVs or doing procedures and things like that. But it's totally different when it's your own, and I totally feel for the moms. I think I always have been quite receptive to that, the pain of hearing your own child cry, and try to comfort the parents as much as possible. But now that I've experienced it firsthand, I can tell you that I will be twice as understanding because it sucks. It just sucks a lot. So, yeah, I'm trying to get used to it. I know that his cries don't mean that he's not dying, he's not suffering. He's ticked off a little bit, or something's bothering him. And it could be his tummy, or it could be just the time of day and he's sleepy and he wants to nap, but is fighting it. So I'm really trying to let it go a little bit, and just hold him, give him love, and make him feel safe, because I think that's ultimately all they can do. So it's been a little hard, and I think it's harder on me than it is on Alex, because Alex is really good at just taking it a step at a time. He puts him in his carrier and just walks him up and down the hallway. But for me, it's like as soon as the crying starts, I zone out, and it's like I blank and I don't know what to do. So I'm trying to work on that. I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah, it's just hard not to feel like, I don't want to shame myself. There's so much mom shaming that happens, and, we say that we other moms shame each other. I haven't had that experience. I've had total support from a lot of moms, from knitting circle, the more experienced moms who have been so helpful to me, and friends of mine who are just new parents as well. Like, I can totally confide in them and not feel judged at all. So for me, it's self-shaming, and it's just kind of horrible. So I need to stop doing that. And I can openly say I think that I breastfed him for 6 weeks. It was hard. He wouldn't latch properly. Eventually we solved that issue, but my milk production was just not where it was supposed to be, and he ended up losing a lot of weight, and his weight gain is still not where it should be. So my doctor kind of told us, I can keep helping you with the breastfeeding. I can find resources for you. I can do whatever you want me to do. But if you're done, Annie, it's okay, and it's okay to be done. And you know what? I was done. It was 6 weeks of frustration and just self-blame. And it's so hard because it was like the minute that the breastfeeding was actually going okay and he was latching on and he was taking something, I would have another day where it would just fail completely. So I was shaming myself about the breastfeeding, and then, we give him a bottle to supplement and give him whatever he's not taking at my breast, but then, you hear that he's not gaining enough weight, and then you start shaming yourself for that because you're like, oh my god, I'm making my child suffer and I'm hurting him. So taking a break, gonna see how it goes, but for right now, I can proudly say that I tried my best, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make my child safe and happy, and I'm not going to guilt myself with that every day. So that was just a little self-rant, I guess, a little bit of real talk for you there. yeah, and I'm putting it out there because maybe somebody else is feeling that way too, and you shouldn't, because I know how hard it is to feel that way, and we should help each other and feel supported by each other. So if you've tried your best and you feel that you've made the right decision for you and your child, I think that's all that matters. And you still love them and you still take care of them. So really, who cares, right? So I'll get back to knitting. So something that came in my mail this week, actually two things, and they came on the same day, which was super exciting and unexpected. So I'll start off with the one that isn't a spoiler. So these are little progress keepers that I'm going to show you, and they're from Bunny and Toot, which is an Etsy store that I found recently through Instagram, of course. And I was just late one night, and I spoke about them last week, I think, too. Late one night, and I couldn't resist, and so this is one of the little progress keepers. Oh, it's not going to focus super well, but it says Luke's. It's a Luke diner mug. Oh, can I get it to focus? Nope, but if I hold it here, maybe you can see it a little better. So it's a little Luke's diner mug, and it's a progress keeper slash, stitch marker, depending on what you want to use it for. Right now, I kind of have it hanging on my bag that I'm using. So I find it super cute, and I mean, it has Luke's name on it, so how could I resist? Yeah, no, he's not named after Luke Danes from Gilmore Girls, although it was very much a happy coincidence. But I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan, if you haven't noticed. We just agreed to name Luke, and we loved it, so nothing related to that, but just made my Gilmore Girl heart a little happy. The other one that we bought, well, that I bought, well, me, the other one that I bought was this little sushi California roll, and I think it's super cute. I was so happy to find this store because they're based in Canada, so I like to support Canadian products when I can, and this Canadian maker is doing a super good job. I will definitely buy again. They're super nice quality, and they're just adorable. I think they're making well, I think it's a she that's behind it, and she's making a bunch of other little edible looking stitch markers and progress keepers, so you should definitely check out their store. I'm really looking forward to my next order from them. If they have any more Gilmore Girls inspired ones, I will definitely buy all of them. So definitely check her out, and I'll get to the spoiler. So I think, as I've told you guys before, and as you've seen, I took part in the Hedgehog Fibers Twist Sock Club, so that was for March, April, and May. I've shown you guys March, so April came, and this is still a spoiler. I think not everyone has maybe received it, so if you haven't received yours and you took part in the club, please look away. So I'll give you guys a second, but I'm really a big fan of this color one. The first month, I don't think, how do I say it? It wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. It would have looked really good in my fade, but I don't really have anything I want to make with it right now. So I'm putting it on hold for now. Maybe it'll inspire me, or I've spoken to Emily, and maybe we're going to work up a little trade if I ever see her. So we'll see what happens. But so this is the color for this month, and it's called April Showers. And it's gorgeous. Look at these speckles. I am such a speckle fan. So again, I'm not quite sure what this is going to be yet, but I feel like there's a lot of possibilities. There's some blues, purples, a lot of pinks, some green, orange. I mean, everything under the sun is in this thing, and I can't wait. Let's see. Oh, blues. Beautiful. Can't wait to find the right project for it. It's in the BFL base, so maybe there'll be socks. I don't know. I've never knit with BFL, and I don't find it the softest when I touch it compared to like merino nylon blend, but I'm definitely willing to see what it looks like and knit up with it a bit more. So I'll let you know how it goes and how much I like it, but it's super fun. Oh, that would be like such a good cover photo, but it would be a total spoiler, so I can't do it, but yeah. So I went to knitting circle on Friday because Alex is going back to work on Monday, so he thought it was important for me to at least go and enjoy myself on Friday while I had the opportunity for some me time. So he's sweet like that. And I got to see all the girls, and it was a lot of fun. It was a pretty big group this week, and I got to see, you know, Catherine, and Esperanza came, and Linda and Vivian. And Vivian actually had a little present for Luke, which I'm going to talk about on the next podcast, so stay tuned for that. But it's gorgeous. So I got to chill with all those girls, and we just knit and laughed, and it was just so much fun, and I can't wait to go back again. Luce was kind of surprised when I said, well, I won't be coming back for a while because Alex is going back to work, and Alex tends to work every Friday, so it's going to be hard for me to come unless my mom is like, you know, going to watch Luke for me and I can come for an hour or so. We'll see if that works, but I feel a little guilty doing that. And she was surprised, but I don't know. I don't feel comfortable bringing Luke to a knitting store for a couple of hours. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Espas would be like totally okay with it, but it's more like a personal thing. I just feel like, what if he starts crying? What if he starts having a meltdown? How am I going to react? I'm not in a space where I feel super comfortable, you know, just doing our thing like I would at home. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll take walks. Maybe we'll come visit to start and not just knit for 2-3 hours at a time. But I could definitely walk him over, say hi to everyone, stay for 10-15 minutes, and then walk back. So we'll see. It's summer coming up. The weather's going to be nicer, and we'll see how it goes. So something else I want to talk about briefly is I definitely want to do a knitting in the park kind of thing. La Maison Tricoté actually messaged me and said they'd love to host a knit night kind of thing for me, and maybe for my shawl along. That would be like perfect for the shawl cow. So I'm gonna get in touch with them and see, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. But in the meantime, once the weather's a little nicer and there's a little bit more grass and less mud, I would really like to get together and host a knitting circle in the park. So if you're at all interested, please message me on Ravelry or on Instagram. Send me your email so that I can send you an email for the mailing list, for the get-together, for the time, the place. We can discuss it all as a group and see what days work best for people. If we're a large enough group, I will just make an executive decision and host it on a certain day. But I'd really love to have that happen soon. So let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Send me a message if you're in the Montreal area and you're definitely up for coming. It would be a lot of fun and great to meet all of you. So that's all for this week. I'm going to try to do them weekly now, so I should maybe have some time this week. Hopefully when Luke is napping, maybe it'll be done over the course of a few days, but it'll be done. So I'm going to try to finish that shawl, maybe finish a sock, and cast on something new to show you guys. Okay, until then, have a beautiful week. Take care, keep knitting, and thank you for watching.